Today, when interseeding cover crops, there are a few different options available. This year, the University of Nebraska Lincoln began a cover crop interseeding project in partnership with several producers and organizations across the state. We got an up-close look at that process during a field demonstration. Market Journal's Bill Dodd brings us this story.
In a cornfield located in southeast Nebraska, just north of Wahoo, producers got a first-hand look at the capabilities of a new high-boy cover crop planter. This demonstration was intended to give producers an idea of the effectiveness of broadcast interseeding cover crops before harvesting corn using a high-clearance machine during the R5 stage of corn production. The goal with these demonstrations seeks to address two barriers to adopting cover crops in Nebraska. 1. Getting enough cover crop growth prior to winter dormancy, and 2. Time and labor required to manage cover crops. Furthermore, cover crops will be quite helpful in priority watersheds with water quality issues.
We actually got this highboy as part of a water quality demonstration. The idea is that cover crops really have a lot of benefits, soil health and otherwise, water quality being one of those. And so we funded this project in part with a NDEE, Nebraska Department of Environment and Energy, 319 grant for non-point source pollution. And the main focus there is looking at how we can use cover crops more efficiently and effectively across the state of Nebraska and get some water quality benefits out of it, as well as the soil health and crop and weed protection and everything along with that. So with this project, we've got two different options. This is a project that we're really taking care of the machine, the operator, and the seed costs for the producers. We hope to carry this on for 5 years after this year, so there will be signups in these water quality areas of concern. So they're really these special priority areas across the state where we have water quality issues. We have 2 seed mixes this year. We have rye, straight cereal rye, and we also have a 3-way mix that we're putting out on some fields, which is a cereal rye, turnip, and rapeseed mix. That mix is really one that's been popular with the people that are either trying to get through a hard pan or they're grazing with cattle. The concept, though, is that eventually that if we can show that interseeding in R5 really gives us a good establishment of the cover crops, then we can get some more of these machines and more of these units in place across the state and really get a broader coverage of cover crops that's much more applicable to farms across the state.
When it comes to planting the cover crops, there was a lot of thought that went into what to plant and why. As far as the timing, it's been established through years of extension research that the R5 stage of development in corn would be the optimal time frame to conduct this particular demonstration.
We're planting cereal rye straight or in a mix with brassicas, turnip, and rapeseed. The cereal rye is our most winter hardy cover crop in this part of the country, and it is really the most productive cover crop in corn and soybean systems. So this is a time when just before corn is starting to dry down, leaves are starting to drop, so more sunlight is coming in through the canopy, reaching the seeds that are on the ground, the cover crop seeds. So that's that light that they need to germinate. Whereas if we plant earlier in the season, a lot of times we just don't get good germination because there is not enough, there may be enough light for them to germinate, but not enough light for them to actually grow. We know it's a better time to establish it at R5 than drilling after harvest. We get better growth, we get better biomass production in the spring, here, at least here in eastern Nebraska and in rain-fed systems. The only other option to plant during that time would be by airplane, aerial seeding, or by helicopter.
Basically, the only thing this would really compete with would be an airplane. That would be your next option in this ground or in this territory. And the airplane can work, but the problem with airplane is you get seed tied up in leaves. Was blowing that day. So basically, to overcome that, they have to put on about twice the rate. Whereas you can go here with say a 50-pound rate or a bushel an acre rate, and probably you're going to get a good germination. So you get less cost in your seed, and also you don't have the expense of an airplane.
The partnerships that brought demonstrations like this to fruition will continue to work together in an effort to see more machines like this in the hands of our state's co-ops and custom applicators. Moving forward, it will be important to learn more about when and where methods of interseeding like this will be the most impactful around the state.
But really to get them in place, we need to get these in the hands of our custom applicators and our co-ops. We need to get this to be a technology that's readily available across the state, and we need to get this to where interseeding at R5, we have to be able to figure out where it works most effectively and under what conditions. One of the best things about this project is that it's really been a partnership between a lot of different entities. We have financial sponsorship from the Nebraska Department of Environment and Energy, but we really have strong investment from the 3 NRDs that are partnering with us this year, the Lower Platte North NRD, the Lower Platte South NRD, and the Upper Big Blue NRD. We also have significant investment from our local extension counterparts. So I'm coming out of one place and covering lots of different areas, but we've got local extension that's partnering and working with our on-farm research on each of these farms. And most significantly, we have fabulous producer partners that are willing to experiment on their ground, shred the ditches, host field days. And it really comes down to producers are interested in figuring out how to make cover crops work in their operation, and we're here to assist them in that process.
As producers around the state are going through harvest, many are probably planning for the next planting and growing season, and cover crops may be a part of those future plans. If you're producing cover crops near a priority watershed, future participation in this program could prove beneficial for you. Reporting for Market Journal, I'm Bill Dodd.